Morning, guys. Welcome back. It is Monday, so I'm told, here at Carolina Tiger Rescue. We had a gorgeous hot weekend in North Carolina. I'm not sure about where you guys and where you're from, but it was hot and our animals were loving the sun. We are here with Carrie, our program assistant. I'm Katie, the education director. If you tuned in last week, welcome back. You're probably tired of me telling you who I am, but it's for all those who are tuning in for the first time today, so welcome. And behind the camera today, we have Catherine, our curator, so she'll be tuning in or chiming in at various times, asking questions. I promise you, as it is said on our schedule, that we will be seeing Madonna Tiger get some enrichment. We decided to share the love a little bit this morning and give some of our smaller cats enrichment as well. So we're going to start with Elvis. Elvis is one of our servals, and Elvis is anxiously waiting to get to his enrichment. So what we have in his enclosure is a tube that has holes cut out of it, and what Carrie has placed in there is meat for him to dig out. And at the end of this, we're going to tell you some awesome enrichment ideas that you can do at home for your animals, or for your siblings, or for your parents, or whoever you would like, or for yourself. Because as we are supposed to self-isolate, please stay home, self-isolate, we all need something to do. So, Carrie, you ready? I think he's ready. He's got a little tunnel from one shift to another. We shifted him out so we could safely go in. And the idea is that he's got to figure out how to get that meat out of the tube. So enrichment is anything that changes up our animals' day. We want to make sure that we're keeping them active and healthy. In the wild, if Elvis lived in the wild, servals eat between 3,000 and 4,000 rodents a year. So they'd be hunting and protecting their territory. And so we want to make sure that he sometimes has to work for his food. And if it's a little difficult for him, that's okay. It keeps him busy. Here he goes. He's got a piece. So, Carrie, what'd you put in there for him this morning?
Pork
For Elvis this morning. Boneless pork. So when we give our small cats treats, we want to make sure that it is boneless. When they get their meals, they get bone in there, but boneless is a little easier treat size because the treats that we give them are about the size of a golf ball. So as you can see, he's got to work that out just a little bit to figure out how to get that meat. He can smell it and he can see it. He's got to use that brain or gravity to work that out.
We have a question about how old is Elvis?
How old is Elvis? That's a great question.
He was born in 2007.
2007, so he is 13. He'll be 13 this month. Actually, on it's still March. Shockingly, it's still March. April 27th, he will be 13 years old. Elvis, we will visit with Elvis maybe next week, but I'll give you a quick history on him. He actually was dropped off on our doorstep when he was about 3-ish years old. The family who had him dropped him off in the middle of the night outside of our gates in a crate, with a note on top that said his name was Elvis and that his family loved him very much but couldn't take care of him. He became too much to handle. And that did not shock us at all because he is a wild cat and he certainly deserves to be outside in the wild if possible. If not, then Carolina Tiger Rescue is the next best place for him. They said they fed him the best cat food that money could buy, wild cat food that money can buy, and gave him plenty of room to roam. When we got a good look at Elvis, though, we realized that probably wasn't the truth. He was underweight. He had no fur on his face, which told us he probably spent most of his time in the dog crate that he was brought to us in. And when we released him into a enclosure, we had to put him out in an enclosure for quarantine away from everybody else. He walked in a 3-foot circle, which told us that, again, he probably spent most of that time in his dog crate. What's super cool about Elvis, though, even though he's never lived in the wild, and previous to that, he probably not spent any length of time outside. In the first couple weeks that he was with us, he caught, killed, and ate a black snake that slithered through his enclosure. And so he has those instincts. He maintained those instincts despite living in captivity his whole life, which is another reason why these guys do not belong in people's houses. Certainly are not pets, but are predators. So we're going to let Elvis work that out. We may check in with him if we have time towards the end, but we've got some other wildcats behind us that we're going to give some enrichment to. And these cats we have not seen yet. two Caracals. Kitwana and Zari. We have separated them apart so that they don't fight over the treats. These guys are food aggressive. In the wild, they would live by themselves, but they have lived together their entire lives. And as long as they get together, as long as they get along, we'll certainly keep them together. So we have a similar but slightly different form of enrichment for them. We have took paper towel tubes, cut holes in them, and then we're going to put meat inside. Zari is super excited. You can hear her chirping. So we got some turkey there for those guys. And we'll fold up the other end for them. And again, it's just similar to what Elvis got, but on a smaller scale. You guys make your prediction. Do you think that they're going to tear it up, or do you think they're going to politely take that meat out of there? I think they're going to tear it up.
Ready?
Yeah. So Carrie's going to give one to Zari. Caracals are native to Africa and the Middle East. If you notice, they've got the craziest looking ears of all the cats. She's got hair on top of her ears. There she is, tearing it up to get that meat out. So they have hair on top of their ears. Scientists don't actually know why they have that hair on top of their ears. It could be for a couple reasons. These guys are excellent bird catchers. They can jump 10 to 12 feet up in the air and catch birds as they fly by. So what scientists think is they may sit in the tall grasses of the savannah, flick the tops of their ears, and birds may think that they're insects and will come down closer, making them easier to catch. Other reason they may have the hair on top of their ears is a signal to their babies. So if Zari was out in the wild with her babies, every so often she'd take them out when they're old enough to teach them how to hunt. She may move dens to keep them safe. And as long as their ears are up, as they are right now, she's telling us that everything's fine and she's happy with the way things are. If she was to come across something aggressive or something she would need to be aggressive towards, she'd pin those ears down. The babies couldn't see the hair on top of her ears anymore, and they would know to go hide. So it's kind of a signal to them. And then we have shifted apart. That's Zari. And then over here we have Kitwana, who is semi-patiently waiting for his treats. These guys in Africa are known as little lions because they are super aggressive. And as you can see, there's a reason why Carrie is not going to use her hands to stick it up there, but a stick instead. Kitwana is trying to help her. But he does have his claws, and he is dangerous. So she's using a stick so she can stay far away, so that she can safely give him that. And if you remember watching the servals eat last week, he's going to take it a little further away to keep it protected. He's going to keep his four legs ready to run if he needs to get out of there, because he is not the biggest one on the block. And instinctually, he's got to be ready to run, although we try to remind him his food is safe here. Zari shifted. She can't take it.
We have a question about how big do caracals get?
How big do caracals get? I think they can get upwards of about 40 pounds. So the males are typically bigger than the females. If you guys can see, I know they're not together, but there is a size difference between Zari and Kitwana here. He is bigger, and males can get upwards of 40 pounds. He thinks that we've got more for him, but not today, dude. You'll get fed later.
How much do the caracals eat every day?
That's a great question. Hey, Carrie, how much do the caracals eat every day?
They're on a small,
Which is about
like 0.7.
about 3/4 of a pound, 6 days a week. So our small cats, they eat more than our more frequently than our big cats. Our big cats we fast 2 days a week. Our small cats, we fast 1 day a week, so they will eat today, but they will not eat tomorrow. And that's because in the wild, they are going to catch prey more frequently than the big cats will, but there's still going to be days that they may not be able to catch prey. So the other cool thing about Caracals is they're able to take down animals 3 times their size. So in the wild, Kitwana would be able to take down a small antelope, and he would certainly gorge himself on that, and then that would lead to a day or 2 of fasting. And he's going back and forth there just in anticipation if we have more food for him, which we do not. He's got to wait till later to get his extra meal, or not his extra meal, but his actual meal. But he got a special treat this morning. So what we're going to do now is we're going to walk down to Madonna, Tiger, and give her some enrichment as well. And we'll come back, because they're not quite done with their treats. We'll come back when we're done and unshift them so they can have access to their entire enclosure again. We're going to walk down, and this is a good time if you have a question. I'd be happy to answer it as we try not to trip.
We have a question about what are the Caracals' favorite food?
What is the Caracals' favorite food? So all of our cats are what we consider obligate carnivores. So they have to eat meat to survive. These guys, again, like our big cats, eat primarily chicken. But occasionally they got turkey today, which they seem to enjoy. And then we also occasionally have rats to give them, and they seem to enjoy that as well. I wouldn't like it, but I'm also not a Caracal.
We had a question about what is their favorite type of enrichment?
Ooh, a Caracal's favorite type of enrichment. What do you think, Carrie?
Those 2 like vulture feathers.
Ooh,
a lot.
vulture feathers.
And things that they can rub against.
Excellent.
And they like jumping up high to get fun things.
Yeah, so they have lots of high platforms in their enclosure. So we will put up vulture feathers or other enrichment on top of their high platforms so they can use that jumping ability and get that energy out. So we have walked down off tour to Madonna. Madonna is one of our 16 tigers. She lives away from the tour path because she doesn't like the hustle and bustle in large groups that come along the tour path. She is already shifted. So if you remember, we never, ever go in with our animals. So what we'll do, if you saw when we gave Mila and Riley their enrichment, we're going to do the exact same thing. We call out that Madonna is on the left. The shift gate is down. Carrie's got more than one person here, so we can safely go in and put her enrichment in on the right side. We're going to have you guys come with us, because there's a couple of cool things I want to show you inside of her enclosure while Carrie gets her enrichment ready.
All right, Madonna.
Yes, so the
Madonna
shift gate is
shifted.
down. Madonna is on the left.
Gate
We can
down.
safely go on the right. Madonna is super chuffly this morning. So if you want to practice your chuffle, she's a good one to practice with. So if you notice she's rubbing up against the fence, she's not saying, hey, pet me. Cats have scent glands in their cheeks, all cats. So if you've ever had a house cat rub up against you, what they're actually saying is, oh, I like you, you're mine. And they're leaving their scent behind. They're marking their territory. So Madonna's doing the same thing. Hard one-handed.
Sorry, I know. I was trying to get that door closed one-handed. Katie's going to take over for me for just a second. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
See, two-handed was hard too. It wasn't just me. Come on, Katie. Get the door.
I also got stuck in my hair.
I have been asked, why do tigers
Carrie.
have stripes?
Tigers have stripes to blend into their surroundings. So in the tall grasses of where they're from, the rainforests and all of that, they're going to have nice tall grasses. And their prey can't see color the way we can see color, although our tigers can certainly blend into their surroundings as well here. So just like zebras, it's the being able to blend in with their surroundings so their prey can't see them. So some cool things to notice in Madonna's enclosure, because it was a little wet last week. She's left what we call pug marks behind. So you can see, here's one that's upside down to you guys, but that is the big pad of her foot. There. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. And we can tell that this is actually it's a right paw, because the second toe is longer or higher up than the first toe. So that's how you can tell, just like on your hands. Your second finger is longer than your first finger, so that would be the right hand, just like that's the right paw that I just messed up. Some other cool things, so we like to do that. We actually work with a SAS and Wild Track. They come out and do create pug marks, or they collect pug marks to put into a system to talk about non-invasive tracking of tigers. And we'll get into that more next week. I'm not going to get in too quickly here, or too much here. And then over here, you notice there's claw marks. So Madonna has all of her claws, and she'll use the tree to not only sharpen her claws, but she's always also leaving her scent behind as a way of marking territory and letting us know that, hey, this is her tree, and we certainly are not going to take that tree from her. In her enclosure as well. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Walked right past it. So this looks a little more fresh, if you can see. The claw marks there. So again, that's to sharpen her claws. Just like your cat at home, those claws get sharp by scratching things. It'll also pull off the outer sheath of it when it's ready to come off, and helps keep those claws healthy. She's got platforms that she can hang on. She actually has 2 den boxes she can choose from. We like to give them as many choices as possible. And she has a natural environment. We keep as many trees in here as possible so that she's got lots of shade. She also has nice sunny areas. If you see, there's a nice sunny area back there for when the sun comes out that she can hang on. She's got logs on the ground she can scratch on and lay on and rub her face on as well, to keep her busy and happy. All right, Carrie, you ready?
Yep.
All right, so we have a box that we left behind. What'd you put inside?
It has chicken thighs, and then we sprayed it with some Tommy Bahama.
Ooh, Tommy Bahama this morning. That's exciting.
Switching it up.
And that box is an extra special thank you to you guys. You guys have been amazing tuning in this week, or last week, and then again this week. And we certainly couldn't do it without you. We know this is a difficult time for everybody, and just something that we never thought we would have to go through. But you guys tuning in is keeping us going, and any support that you can give is fantastic. Even a couple bucks thrown our way is going to help us long term with these animals. We are closed as much of the state is for tours at this point. That's a huge source of revenue for us. So if you're able to donate anything, we greatly appreciate it. Even just tuning in, telling people about Carolina Tiger Rescue, and then hopefully coming to visit once we open back up is going to be also very helpful. Very extremely helpful. Very extremely helpful. All right, so we're going to head out. Carrie's got her perfume. Nothing stays in here that if she was to destroy and eat a little bit of, that's going to harm her. So Carrie's got her perfume. We're taking our bucket with us. We're going to head out.
Okay, do you want to talk about this double door system?
Yeah, so we have a double door system here at Carolina Tiger Rescue. We have this door that opens up to outside of the safety cage. And then we have this door that opens into the enclosure. Nothing is, so we never have both doors open at the same time. Carrie's just double checking, making sure that we got everything. So we never have both doors open at the same time. It's another safety precaution to make sure that she can't, if a mistake was to happen, that she wasn't able to get out completely. So good call, Carrie, making sure she's got all the pieces of everything to take out with her.
Why did we put the perfume on the box?
Oh, because cats love scent. And the smellier and the stinkier, the better. So if you're like, oh, God, that smells terrible, the cats are like, oh, that is the best smelling thing. So it just adds to the enrichment. So she's got a couple layers of enrichment there. If we wanted to just have one piece of enrichment, we could go around and just spray her trees with it, and she would rub all up against it. They're very scent oriented. She would rub just like she was rubbing on the fence here. And then also, so she's got scent, she's got a box, and then we put a couple pieces of chicken inside that box as far as some added enrichment to say happy Monday morning to you, Madonna. All right, are we all locked
Excellent.
up? All good. Excellent.
Gates all locked.
So we're gonna head out this way so Carrie can unshift and you guys can see what Madonna's gonna do. Madonna, it's your time to shine. She's like, I don't know, y'all taking your time, so. All right. So Carrie's gonna let her out, and we're gonna see what Madonna thinks of her enrichment. Oh, she found the chicken. So if you remember and watched our live feed from last week, we do feed a whole carcass diet, so she's got bone and all. She's using those side carnassial teeth to crunch up that bone or shear off that bone so that she can eat it whole. Madonna also appreciates your support. This is how she shows it, by destroying what we give her. Madonna is actually going to be 15 years old this year. She's not one that's normally on the tour because she doesn't like large groups of people. She came to us from a private owner in Alabama. That private owner used to have a privately owned zoo, and their USDA license was taken away, so they weren't allowed to have people come and visit their animals. But even though their USDA license was taken away for violations, they were allowed to keep their animals. And back in 2014, the family of the woman who owned them contacted us and said, hey, we need safe places for these animals to go. So we went down and were able to rescue 4 of these, the woman's tigers. We got Madonna, we got Tears, we got Tasha, and we got Leah. Unfortunately, Tears and Leah have since passed away, but Madonna and Tasha are still with us. And we may see Tasha later this week. We'll just have to see how things go. Tasha last week was in heat, so she didn't find food very appealing, but we'll see how she is this week. What do you think, Madonna? You said, oh, but what do you have for me?
We have had a couple of questions about how big the tiger enclosures are.
Great question. I'm going to let our curator answer that.
I was curious if you were going to pass that back to me. So all of our tiger enclosures are at least 16,000 square feet, and that is for an individual or 2 tigers to live in. We do have some enclosures that are bigger than that. So for every additional animal, we'd have to make that 50% bigger. And so we want to make sure that everybody has enough space so that we don't have any conflicts with the tigers just because they're on top of one another. So we want to make sure it's big enough for everybody.
Because these guys in the wild are solitary, so just like with our servals last week, they all have a space that they can go, and they all have a space that they can get away from one another, but also can share the same space if they continue to get along.
I do want to thank, we already have 7 people who have donated today on our video, so we certainly want to thank them.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That goes a long way in helping us long term with these guys while we're closed down, so we greatly appreciate it. So one thing that we had last week was an activity with each of our lives, so don't worry, we have one for you this morning, and your task is to create enrichment for maybe your pet at home. If you don't have a pet, create it for your sibling. My brother always liked to make things really difficult for me to get, and I would now call that enrichment. Or if you don't have a sibling, do it for your parents. But don't make a mess if it's for your parents, please, because they will not appreciate that. So what we will have on our website shortly is our enrichment log. So every time that we give out enrichment to our animals, we want to make sure that we're rating how well it goes, because if we continually get an animal who's not responding to that enrichment, it's not worth it. We want to make sure it's something that they're being active with, so that we can keep them happy and healthy mentally and physically. So the rating scale goes like this. 0 is the animal doesn't even go near it or look at it, essentially. A 1 is the animal maybe sniffs it but doesn't really show any interest. They may sniff it and then walk away. a rating of a 2 is they play with it or they put a little effort into destroying it. And then a rating of 3 I like to call is best day ever. So today, what do you think, Carrie, that Madonna would get today?
I would say a 2 for
Probably
her.
a 2 for Madonna
she's done
today.
better.
She definitely found the pieces of meat that we left inside of her, but then she was essentially done with it. So what we would want to see to get a 3 is that she's rolling all over it, kind of like if you watched Raja's live Picasso last week. He certainly got a 3 with that. That was certainly a 3. So that's what we would want to see to get a 3. So we have this rating scale online that you guys can print off and try different enrichment activities with your animals or siblings or parents at home. You can also make something and put it outside for maybe the birds. If you don't, if your parents are like, no, you cannot enrich me today. You've enriched me enough with being at home. Maybe make something for the birds outside and head back in and see how they react to it. That's always an option as well. We have a couple of ideas that you can pull from on our website that'll go up shortly of different things you can do with things that you already have at home. I certainly have taken cereal boxes and cut holes in them to put cat treats in for my cats at home. You can take, I hear that there's a lot of toilet paper rolls rolling around, or the tubes, so you could use that and do something just like we did for Kit and Zari of cutting holes in it safely with your parents' help and putting treats inside of that. Or there was another one that I found for dogs. I don't have a dog myself, but was taking a muffin tin and covering up treats maybe with tennis balls or something like that, and they have to sniff it out. So your task by Friday is to fill one of these out, try a couple different things. You're gonna put your animal's name. If you don't have an animal and just want to put bird, because you do something for the birds or the squirrels, or your sibling's name, cross it out and just put their name there. What species they are they a cat, are they a human? What was the enrichment that you gave them? And then what was their response? And we want you to explain that response, because like the one with Madonna today, if we just put a 2, we don't know how to improve that. So is it that we needed to maybe come back later in the day? Maybe she was just excited to see us and we were enrichment enough. Or do we need to use a different type of perfume? Maybe she didn't like that perfume today. So that would be something that we potentially change. So you got to make those notes, because if you come back to this later to do it again and you just see a 2 and you're like, yeah, but I don't know what to change, right? Send us a picture of what you did by Friday, and you'll be entered to win a prize from Carolina Tiger Rescue. And so hopefully you'll have fun with that. We certainly will do some other enrichment for our animals today, and if we in this week, and we'll throw up some pictures as we do that. And thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us this morning and seeing some of our awesome animals who are loving this gorgeous weather. Yeah, that's what I got. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to do Tiger Tales Tuesday with Savannah Serval. We hope you'll tune in for that, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.